That is not on me.
No, it is not on you. Okay, everyone, we have quorum. Hi. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming. My name is Rochelle Nigro. We're going to get started here. We have Marge will do the roll call.
Good evening, everybody. So glad to see you all. Attendance for the meetings, EL1,
Present.
2,
Coming back.
3,
Present.
4,
Here.
5, I'm here, 6, and 7. Okay, thank you
All
all.
right. And I just want to start real quick with introducing Leslie, who is the new librarian for the Shaw Library. If Leslie, you want to come up and do
Oh, I can,
Right there, right
I
there.
can be right here. I just want to say thank you all, and thank you to the ANC members. I've been here about a month, and I'm very much enjoying myself. I'm very glad to be at the Watha T. Daniel Shaw Library, and as I always tell everyone, it is your library. Please come and see us. We're happy to help you. And I would just remind everyone that we do have expanded hours. They started yesterday, so now we're open until 9 o'clock, from 9:30 in the morning till 9 o'clock on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, from 1 till 9 on Thursdays, 9:30 to 5:30 on Friday and Saturday, and we're open from 1 till 5 on Sundays, all of the district libraries, not just Martin Luther King anymore. So thank you all. If you have any questions or concerns, please see me. I'm always glad to help. Thank you so much.
Great, thank you. We have a couple additions to the agenda. We have number 6, which is from DDOT, the North-South Planning Study. They're going to do a presentation. We have from my area, 206 N Street, requesting support for a public space permit. And from Alex's area, support for removal of a no turn on red sign. I motion that the agenda for the ANC 6E meeting be approved.
Seconded.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Okay. All right, so let me ask first for the officers to come up. We have 1D and we have 3D. So if 1D, if you want to come up and give your name.
Sure.
How you doing? Good evening. I'm Lieutenant Murphy from the 1st District. My area of responsibility in the 1st District is PSA 102, which is Chinatown area near the Verizon Center. Just want to read to you some stats that I was able to get my hands on from our crime analysis. Looking at year-to-date stats, we are pretty much down in every category for a total crime reduction of 9%. Of the ones that we are up in, thefts, we are up 3. We have a total of 218 thefts compared to 215 last year for 1% increase. In assaults, we are up 1, total of 53 so far this year. Robberies, we were down 13% from 96 to 84. Sexual assaults down 17%. I guess of significance, we had the homicide over in Sursum Quarter about maybe a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, where basically it was a group of individuals playing craps in the neighborhood, and the 3 masked gunmen came up and saw the individuals playing craps. The individuals got up and to run, and nothing was said. They just started shooting. So that's currently being investigated by our homicide branch. Detective Charles Foltz has that. And the other stats that I have is like year-to-date stats. It's pretty much like a breakdown, 1D stats along with 3D stats, because as you all know, the ANC 6E boundaries has a little bit of 1D in it, and the majority of it's 3D. Other than that, that's pretty much all I have to report. If anyone has any questions, I'll be happy to answer questions.
Any questions from the commissioners?
I just want to say thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
Really delighted that 1D has chosen to let you guys come up and be part of this meeting.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Martin?
Yeah, officer, on the unit block in N Street,
Hang on a second, Mark.
Hang on a second.
Hang on.
The previous. Yes.
Yeah, I'll use this.
Officer Murphy, we do have one audience question.
Sure. Also. Yes.
Go ahead, Martin.
Yeah, on the unit block of M Street, it's like 2 blocks away south from the high school. Seems like there's a lot of drugs being dealt with in broad daylight, that's coming up in the grocery today. And this broad daylight drug exchange is going on, it just seems unbelievable that we can't get sufficient police surveillance to knock that out, especially when we know that a homicide occurred, in the same area. I mean, it's just, the drugs mitigate, cause the crime. So stop out the drug dealing, get rid of the drugs.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll actually see Lieutenant Parker. He's the vice sergeant for 1D after I leave here, and I could pass along this information to him. If I can, after the meeting, maybe I could get with you and get your name and information and ask you some more questions about it. All right?
Thank you so very
Okay,
much.
thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Sergeant Earl from 3D.
Good evening, everyone. Before I go through the stats, I just want to point out that we have some flyers over on the side table, including a flyer inviting everyone to our annual Halloween event at the station, also a brochure on Halloween safety, and October is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, so we have a brochure on domestic violence awareness. Didn't want to forget that. So it's going to add crime stats. In the short term, the amount of robberies and assaults with a dangerous weapon, both with and without a gun, have gone in the short term quite high. It's a common trend now. Most of them are centered on businesses, mostly convenience stores and liquor stores. That seems to be the new method. In the short term, they've gone up quite high. Over the year to date, we are a little up. We're about 18% up, but we're actually down on property crime. We've also seen a short-term increase in the last 30 days in theft from auto. They went from 10 to 16, and 10 to 16, and I think that's driven by there's been a lot of events recently at the convention center, and the area around the convention center is, of course, the AMC and PSA 308, so that's where they end up parking. And believe me, the people who do theft from autos can read the zone parking permits on the cars just as well as any parking enforcement or police officer can, and they know whose car is local and who's there for something else, just like up the club zones. But in the short term, like I said, we are seeing quite an increase in robberies and assaults with a dangerous weapon, both with and without a gun. And I'll pass these to you for the record. Does anyone?
Any questions from the commissioners? Any questions from the audience for the sergeant? Oh, Martin.
There was a assault on Fifth Street 2 nights ago. You know anything about that?
Not off the top of my head, sir. I'm sorry. And also the other thing I did forget, this Saturday at 1 o'clock at the Hemingway Temple Baptist Church at 501, sorry, I can't remember the address now.
Peace Street.
Peace Street. There's a public safety awareness forum. I'll be there, Mark will be there, the fire department will be there. We're also going to have a speaker from our intelligence unit dealing with gang and crew activity and how to identify it and prevent it from taking root, both as a community member and also in your family, and identifying the kind of activity in children and all. So please, by all means, attend that.
Is that posted anywhere on the listserv?
I don't know if it's been posted yet. Marco, do you know?
For the event this Saturday?
Yes, sir.
No, I think the church hasn't had it posted.
I can post it. They sent me a flyer, so I can go ahead and post it.
Speaking of following what Martin just stated about incidents, there were 2 cars, the back of their windows were broken out, and then that was like a week ago, and a neighbor on this street, Miss Savage, you have any information about that?
No, I'm sorry. I didn't read the stats that detail. I can look and see if I have something here. You said about a week ago? That'd be it right here.
The 2 windows in the back of them were broken out. Their cars were parked on S Street between 5th and 6th Street.
I will tell you that for most of the crimes like that, those are very difficult crimes to solve, because there's usually very little usable evidence from those, unless somebody happens to have a camera on that location.
Not being reported, so I'm not putting it on the spot.
Right. I don't see it on the, this is a printout of the recently reported crimes. I don't see it on here for that address.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't see anything on here for that, but those are generally very difficult crimes to deal with, only because it said there's usually very little evidence.
Any way to get some like more patrol around the area?
We do have foot-beat officers in that area, except for like a day like today where I have 2 officers in the PSA. But we generally have foot-beat officers and mountain bike officers in that area. That whole kind of area, the S Street, R Street, right over here by the library, right over there by the library. So we do have officers there. I just don't know exactly what time it happened, so I couldn't tell you.
I think it's been like, there's my neighbor, so
Yeah, I don't know if we have a foot-beat officer there at that time. I'd have to double check with Lieutenant Gregg.
okay.
I'm sorry, I wish I could give you a little bit more information on it, but it's called a little flat foot on that one. Let me give you my email address. You can email me and I'll get back to you. All right. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Nope, I'm sorry.
Kevin's got a question?
Yeah. Officer, last weekend there was several cars in the 400 and 500 block of S Streets whose windows were broken
We
into.
were just talking about,
Oh. Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
The question was about last week, this was on Sunday.
I guess that is this week. I really hadn't heard about the, like I said, those are very difficult crimes to solve because there's usually essentially no usable evidence unless we happen to have a witness or something like that for those. You know, we do have foot beats. If they happen late at night, I'm not sure if they have a foot beat officer there. I'll have to look at the midnight roll calls only to check because I'm not here then.
There were 2 different incidents, not only this week, last week as well.
Oh, so there's been 2.
Sounds like a pattern.
It does. But I will get with Lieutenant Gray tonight and mention it to him. Because I do know we have foot-beat officers there, I just don't know what they specifically have been doing. Of course, right now our biggest focus has been robberies, but that's probably something that's at least passingly related to it.
Okay. Leslie, did you have a question?
I was just wondering, let the officers know if they would like to post anything about meetings or like their house party, you're welcome to
Oh,
post.
thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? All right, great. Thanks for coming, Sergeant. Is Mark here? Okay, I have a favor to ask of the commissioners. Mark he is from We Are Family, and he has a child care situation tonight. Do you all mind if he goes next? Anyone mind? Okay, Mark, come on up. So this is Mark Anderson, right?
Yes, yeah,
From-
Mark Anderson.
From We Are Family DC, and I stumbled upon this group when I was walking down Fifth Street, and they're putting together their bags in the Metropolitan Community Church parking lot.
Indeed. And thank you for inviting me to speak to the ANC. I have some handouts I'll send some around for the ANC. Hopefully I gave you enough. Let me give you one other. Somewhat ironic, but I think worthy detail to note is that actually 2 of the founders of We Are Family are the parents of Frida Judd, who looks like she's a commissioner here. So hopefully she'll show up because I'd love to see her. My name is Mark Anderson. Oh, here, let me pass these around for you all. My name is Mark Anderson. I am the co-director of We Are Family. We Are Family is an outreach and advocacy organization that serves seniors here in this area in Ward 6, also some in Ward 2, but primarily also up in Ward 1. We were founded almost 10 years ago by a group of senior leaders from here in the community and their friends, including myself. We were all parishioners at St. Aloysius Church over on North Capitol Street, and were initially concerned with the crisis that was then unfolding after the killing of Princess Hansen in January of 2004, and some of the issues of potential displacement coming from the economic redevelopment happening in the area. We are an unusual group in certain ways, hopefully unusual in a very good way, in that we are first and foremost an outreach organization. We go out into the community to find isolated low-income seniors who need assistance, perhaps a grocery bag, perhaps companionship, perhaps advocacy, dealing with a government agency, or helping get them organized so that they can protect their homes from the changes that are happening, the negative side of the changes happening in the neighborhood. And that's very important because we feel like the folks who most need the help are the ones who will tend not to know about the existence of help, or if they know about it, may not be able to take advantage of it. So we go out to them. We do this in a couple of fairly closely circumscribed areas. We're in one right now, of one of our 2 service areas. The other is a little north of here, kind of in Columbia Heights, Petworth area. Both of these neighborhoods, of course, have a history of challenges coming out of the concentrated poverty that has been there historically. They're also neighborhoods with tremendous histories of inspiring accomplishments against long odds. And maybe most importantly for us, being concerned about the seniors, the very vulnerable seniors, is that their neighborhood's undergoing dramatic transformation as the communities gentrify. And we felt that the seniors were particularly at risk as a result. So we wanted to do our outreach effectively, so we focused on those areas. We do this work almost entirely with volunteers. We serve about 600 seniors a month with a grocery bag, a phone call, a visit, sometimes much more, transportation, advocacy, cleaning, etc. I am the full-time staff of We Are Family. My wife is a half-time co-director, and then we literally have hundreds of volunteers and community supporters, including the Metropolitan Community Church, which has been one of our outposts for essentially almost the entire time that we've been an organization. So we're doing outreach in specific neighborhoods primarily with volunteers. The most important volunteers we have are the seniors themselves living in the community. They're the folks who've lived here the longest time. They're the folks who know their community, they know their neighbors, they have their trust. And those folks are the foundation of our organization, including Mary and Sylvester Judd, Frida's parents. They become our frontline ambassadors, so that in the end, We Are Family is not simply a social service organization providing groceries and transportation and so forth, although we are that, nor are we simply a justice organization providing education on legal rights or organizing assistance so people can protect themselves in their homes, although we do that. Fundamentally, we are about building community, a special kind of community that's caring, just, and inclusive, meaning that this is a community that is a place for everyone, where no one is forgotten, and where we stand up for each other, where we look out for each other. I'm from Montana originally. I grew up actually I wasn't even in a town, I was out in the countryside, but one of the things that I took away from that was how important it is for neighbors to look out for neighbors. And in the midst of the changes in our communities here, I think there's a special need to draw folks together so they get to know each other, so that they recognize one another as sisters and brothers in one family. And that's essentially what we're trying to do. We are trying to do something very simple, which is encourage people to get to know each other, at the same time, we believe that is revolutionary, because that's what we need in order for the resources in this community. And the resources are tremendous, and the need is also tremendous. If we know each other, if we recognize one another as a sister or a brother, then the resources will tend to flow naturally to the place of greatest need. We depend on the support of community, of the residents, particularly the seniors. And it was exciting for Commissioner Negro to happen on us as we were delivering or assembling our bags to deliver from the parking lot of the Metropolitan Community Church. It gave her a sense of the grassroots flavor of the organization. I just am deeply appreciative of the chance to talk to you a little bit about the organization, and answer any questions you have, and invite you, first and foremost, to become part of what we're doing. If there are seniors that you know in this community who could use some of the services you're talking about, or some of the companionship that we're talking about, or advocacy, please let us know. If we can't help with it, then we know other organizations who have other resources. And there are other groups around, like Family Matters, Emmaus Services, Iona Senior Services, Legal Counsel for the Elderly. There's a whole list of wonderful groups, but our seniors will never be connected to those groups, get the help that they need, unless we first get out there and get to know them.
Great, thank you.
And if I could make one final pitch, which is, and it just occurred to me earlier today, which is we are getting ready for one of the biggest parts of our year, the biggest parts of our seniors' year, because we're getting ready to assemble the Thanksgiving baskets at the end of next month that we deliver to over 500 low-income seniors here in this neighborhood and in the other neighborhoods nearby that we serve. That's something we've been doing in cooperation with the Northwest Settlement House, which of course the Settlement House has been a tremendous force in this community for, well, actually longer than I've been alive, probably longer than anyone in this room, since they're it's 70-some years old. Maybe there's someone older than that, but tremendously a historic and landmark group. So we're also planning to do, and this is what comes to my little pitch, we're also doing what we do around the holidays. Many of we are families, an interfaith group, and you know, anybody who doesn't even profess a religious tradition is welcome to join us on the common ground of standing up for, you know, one another. But we know a lot of our seniors, the vast majority of seniors, are Christian, and to be alone and feel forgotten at a holiday like Thanksgiving or Christmas is terrible for our seniors. So what we do is we actually have our volunteers call every single one of our seniors to find out if they're going to be alone on Christmas Day. If they are, then we ask them what they would like as a gift, and then another volunteer goes and buys that, and then another volunteer wraps it, and then volunteers gather together at the Metropolitan Community Church to go out and deliver those Christmas presents on Christmas Day, which is a tremendous experience for any of you who might want to join us for that, and also something that if the ANC is interested in possibly entertaining a grant request to help us pay for these gifts, then that's my pitch. And I apologize, I didn't even mention it to you. It just popped in my head because we actually get support from a couple other ANCs, but I've never come to you all before. So again, I thank you for your patience with me. If there are questions and there's time, I'll answer them. But most of all, I thank the ANC, some of whom I know and some of whom I don't, but I appreciate deeply the service you give to this community and look forward to getting to know you more.
Any questions from the commissioners?
Is there a number or something on this plot? I guess there is, okay. For buildings that might want to make contributions?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. There's an email address, there's a phone number. We're an outreach group, so the office number for us is a cell phone because our office is out in the community, really. Even though we get support from MCC, and it's tremendous support, and also up in Columbia Heights from St. Stephen the Incarnation. So yeah, please feel free to call or email at any time.
Any questions from the audience? All right, great.
All right,
Thank you.
and I will follow up with you, and again, thank you all.
Oh, you're quite welcome.
And and especially thank you for letting me go early, because I do have a 9-week-old baby and a wife who really is stretched with our 3.5-year-old already at another meeting, so I've got to be a good dad.
All right, thank you. All right, so next we have a discussion about a potential playground on the grounds of the Carnegie Library. This has to do with the convention center that owns those grounds, and they did not send a representative, but this is Marge's agenda item.
Yeah, I just want to make mention, I met with the Office of Planning, and I met with, and had spoken to Department of Parks and Recreation about a playground that has been approved for the north corner, the 7th Street side of Mount Vernon Square for a playground. I was told both by planning and by DPR that this was going to start in October, meaning this month. I have recently heard that the Carnegie Library is in negotiations, the city or whoever is in negotiation with the Spy Museum, which will in fact push back this playground project for at least 2 to 3 years. So I'm kind of upset about it because it would be like the only playground in my single-member district at this point, if and when it goes up and gets finished. So I just want to bring it to your attention, and I will get the word out to all of you through email, and at our next meeting, if any developments come up that will be preventing this from happening. If you have questions, you can see me or ask me anytime.
And I spoke with the convention center. I was supposed to receive a call from Greg Odell, who's head of the Convention Center Authority, before our meeting. And I did request someone to come. Clearly no one came, and I did not receive a call from Greg Odell. So this is actually a pretty big deal because I attended the same meeting with Marge and was told the same information, and now plans seem to have changed. So it's a little bit unfortunate. So hopefully we'll have a positive update soon. Next also is an agenda item for Marge. We're talking about the timing of the traffic lights and the big intersections here in our ANC. This has to do with people are very concerned about getting across the street, especially in New York Avenue in Massachusetts. And we have a representative from DDOT here. And you're gonna have to help me with your name.
Asnak.
Okay. And here you go, Marge. Yep, Marge again.
Okay, I don't know if any of you all are familiar with the traffic light, the one that affect most of you all from this side of town, would be the one at the Safeway corner, which is 5th New York Avenue L, that little stretch there. If you happen to be driving on the L Street section, about one car gets through the green light at that intersection, if we're lucky. One of the problems is all of the signs are not clear. Pedestrians don't know which signs they are supposed to be following, both to cross at 5th and at New York Avenue. There are so many different signs that people are really not sure of who's supposed to do what. But the timing really is off and is very, very dangerous. If you guys could please look into that. Once the new construction starts by DDOT at the New Jersey Avenue intersection 1 block away, it's going to cause havoc. And I believe that project is supposed to start next month. I mean, we had somebody here a while back telling us about it, but we really need to look into that intersection. The second intersection is the intersection at 5th and Massachusetts, 5th I and Massachusetts. This morning I counted 22 traffic lights at that intersection, none of which work. It has apparently been under construction for about a year, and people come out and jiggle the wires and act like they're working on them, but it's been a full year, and they're all covered with burlap, and they're all non-working, and it's very difficult to go from 5th and get across Mass Avenue or even turn on to Mass Avenue. And hopefully you'll be able to address this to some degree as well. The last intersection that is of concern to me is the intersection of 4th and Massachusetts. We have had this year 2 deaths at that intersection, and it does, whatever was corrected or was supposed to be corrected does not appear to have solved the problem. So could you address these 3 issues for me? Thank you.
Okay. First, let me start from New York Avenue and Elder Street. Before I came this meeting, I don't have this specific information. But yes, this intersection is a very wide intersection, critical. It's not a simple intersection. This, like some of them have 9 crosswalks and different movements. But the Elder Street, based on the information he gave it to me, we're gonna go ahead and investigate it because Elder Street by itself have a detector. Maybe there must be a detector failure or something. We're gonna investigate that to give you more time. It's designed to give more time. The detector, if one vehicle stopped there, it cut it to 7 seconds, but if there is a queuing, it provide the more time.
Obviously, that's not happening.
Okay, so I'm assuming maybe I will investigate this, maybe a detector malfunction.
I don't think it's ever happened.
Yeah,
Am I correct? Yeah.
I mean, it's a
Yeah.
really dangerous, and the other problem really is the pedestrian crosswalk information. That people don't know when they're supposed to walk and when they're not. They're looking at the signs that are on New York Avenue, not the sign that's at Fifth Street or at L Street, and they're moving along, but they should be stopped, you know, because there's different traffic signals, and they really need to, you guys really need to come out and look at it.
Yeah, but this two intersections too close. Like, we will take a look at it. We're gonna come up some kind of recommendation. This modified when this Safeway done, and the two crosswalk working differently. The crosswalk on north side work with the New York Avenue. The crosswalk on south side, it work with L Street. It's a kind of difficult to put both of them together, but I will explain in detail how I work. But the sign you're talking about, I will go review it, and we will see how we can improve it.
Will you get back to us as just shoot us an email or
Yeah.
something that says you've actually looked into it?
Yeah.
Okay.
What I assume is the detector for push button may not work, for a detector for vehicle may not work. I will evaluate it, both the timing and the phasings, and the display of the signal are visible for a pedestrian and vehicle.
Okay.
So let me add to that discussion. Because we have a very short interval, for the westbound traffic on L Street going to Fifth Street, you end up having people running that light and, having pedestrians stepping off the sidewalk and